All right. Hello again, YouTube. This is your boarding party crew. We have an additional art critiquer on today. I am DM Drew, joined by my esteemed co-host Milo and our very special guest today, Phoebe.
And hello.
Yeah. All right. And with that, that's a perfect introduction. Today we're going to be looking at the newly dubbed ringleader, a.k.a. Mr. Mime, a.k.a. the devil himself, a.k.a. the Weaver of Fates. But yeah, here he is. He's getting some doodles going.
And before we jump in, I just want to say again, like last time, heavy spoilers. We're about to talk some big things.
Yeah,
so.
this is kind of triggering, just because this character is probably the worst.
He's easily one of my favorites, but that's neither here nor there. Anywho, quick shout out to Sam over at Red Cat Studios. You can find her on Instagram and Etsy at those handles. We'll have all the more professional links and such in the description to this and all of the Art with Sam videos. But let's get into talking about Mr. Mime. How do you guys feel coming face to face with the deadliest foe to date?
So I want to touch on this one because this was pretty goofy. It's like a mix between Mr. Mime and the Pokemon scientist guy. You can see the reference there.
Oh yeah.
And I think when we were looking at the three in the end, this one looked almost friendly, and we're like, no.
Well, I feel like that would be part of it.
He's Pennywise.
That wasn't necessarily pull away from it, yeah. If you had a really friendly-looking Mr. Mime, and then suddenly he shoots you.
And then we go in the complete opposite direction.
He's the
you gotta give options.
Yeah, no, she does great stuff and always gives a really good gradient of, from one end to the other. And we had kind of presented, I don't remember the exact phrasing, but I know he said, Mr. Mime is evil. He's capable of pointing his finger at you and killing you. And, not necessarily like over the top scary, but something should be off-putting about him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's really, the vibe that we're going for with him is like a lesser Pennywise, but very unsettling to look at. And you never quite know what's going on behind the cold, soulless, dead eyes of Mr. Mime. Because you never do. Like, evil Mr. Mime or not, they're unsettling. And it's not just that I don't like clowns.
Here's all three together, and we went with version 1. So
V1.
Yeah, so we're going to move on to cleaning up this sketch and moving into some line art.
Ooh, baby. He's so spooky.
It is cool to see the whole process as someone that's just doodles for funsies and does like art for funsies. I don't have like a process like this.
Yeah, I would classify you as the doodles while in school type of drawer.
An avid doodler.
But I do like doing art stuff, but it's cool to see the whole thing.
Yeah. And
it's so rapid.
Well, it's a time lapse.
Well, I know, but you still know it would take me forever to do like the head.
Gotcha.
Even in time lapse.
And I'm someone who's done art, but I've never done digital art in the sense. I've tried to use tablets, and they're my biggest enemy, and I've never gotten the hang of it. So it is cool to see. I love watching like speed drawing, speed painting, in that sense, because you can see it, and it's not like Bob Ross rubbing a palette knife down and having a perfect mountain range. You just get to see the process of it,
and you get the perk of you don't have to clean up.
True.
After.
True. Yeah.
Or set up.
Yeah. So this is the Mr. Mime pose we went with.
Work it.
He's just staring at the potential energy of his hands. It's like one flick of the wrist, some finger guns.
Yeah.
Exactly. One and away you go.
So, question for Drew.
Oh, fire away. I'm ready.
In your mind going into this session, was there a limit to what Mr. Mime's imagination could do?
No.
Scurry.
Mm-hmm. It was always a rule that he would not kill more than one team member around. That was the only restriction I placed on him.
That's at least
but-
you put something.
Yeah,
There
but
was
Mr.
one
Mime
buffer.
was the first real stakes combat
It was intense.
where I had contingencies for everything, but if a team member died, I did not have a way to be like, oh yeah, no, if they did X plan of action, they could get them back.
Okay.
So he was a no holds barred, like
So had it been one of a Pokemon that wasn't on Bentley's team,
had the Shadows roll not been
fair.
high enough,
Yeah.
he would have lost both.
Oh,
So that would have
Yikes.
been exciting. Yeah, sorry Ben, if this is how you're figuring that out. I don't think I ever actually said that, but I feel like this is a safe and open space where I can share about Mr. Mime's horrible worldviews.
I was just thinking, like, if he had the idea to just fold one of us into another dimension. Like,
I mean,
if
just look at what happened with Lickitung, man.
just takes you like
never
a sheet of
forget.
paper and folds you in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just pop you out.
Yeah, that was super grody, and it was a good attempt. I think we all knew once Lickitung ate him that was not going to be the end of it, but I don't think any of us expected that outcome.
Yeah. There's also, I think the proudest I've ever been of a player is when Phoebe breaks out the imaginary lasso. That was the greatest use of yes and I will ever see. It was incredible. And I was
That's
like,
good.
you know what? I'm gonna let this
Yeah.
work.
I was
With
shocked it
minimal
would
effort.
even work.
Yeah. Because I was like, what better way to defeat an enemy that uses your own mind against you than to be like, okay, I'll play your game. Sure. Here's my mental lasso. Get out of this, you spooky clown.
And you went through a lot in that session too. If you need a refresher, is the one we split and looked in other buildings.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you guys
I
attacked
remember.
the Voltorbs or Electrodes, and it blew up.
Yup.
You detonated the
Um,
charging station.
Sage rolled really low on his save, but
Yeah.
thankfully he had to take a poop, so he was saved.
Yeah.
Saved
so
by a
perks of
bowel
improv.
movement.
I cut a lot of that because it went on for a really long time. But basically, at
The
begin-
toilet jokes, or
No, well,
oh.
because it started in the beginning of the session. Jordan, aka CJ, but real life Jordan, let out this uproarious fart that had been picked up by everything, and it was
Really?
while
Wow.
while Sage was doing something. So
Oh.
we jokingly were riffing for like 20 minutes about how it was Sage that had farted and not Jordan, and so
You got it though.
we were joking
Just
that
in the-
That's
yeah,
showbiz, baby.
Yeah, in the
it
moment.
was so much. Like, it would have been fun to keep in, but you can only take so many poop jokes before it gets old. And it would turn into
I
this
don't know,
thing of
depends
like
on who you ask.
CJ, or not CJ, Sage was sneaking around, but we were constantly joking that he was like pooping like various plant life all over the laboratory, and it just kept devolving, and it went on for so long. And then in the end, when the explosion happened, we're like, where's Sage? And he had come out of the bathroom having finally relieved himself. So that was kind of the origin of that, but it was just, if it wasn't 20 minutes of poop jokes, it probably would have maintained in the episode a little more. But
Oh man.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, this is where you get the straight tea. The unfiltered tea of Boarding Party. The things that we spare everybody from.
and I think Mr. Mime might be my favorite villain we've encountered to date. And it's kind of for the same reason that Drew was talking about earlier, where this was the first battle that we really had legitimate stakes, because we had, even before the whole climax of the battle, you know, the fake Mr. Mime that he killed and brought back to life,
Yeah.
and the Lickitung that he opened the door of his stomach to,
Yep.
and then all leading up to that scene where he's just dangling Mortar.
Yeah.
It was so intense from start to finish, and it was really fun to role play. And I know we had the stuff where like he was freezing people in place, he was putting my birds in cages, silencing people so they couldn't speak, and it was just really intense.
Yeah, that's why he's the most terrifying.
Yeah.
Just because there are no, like, if you're not playing by any rules but your own, whatever you can conceive of mentally, then good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you?
He did a really good job of coming across as just a nightmare,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what I wanted.
What if we had like
Clowns scare me, and I want everyone to understand why.
if we had a moment maybe towards the end with Bentley where there was like a Hook invisible feast meal, or someone like threw a snowball or something and it just hit him in the face and everything became real.
Oh, that would have been wild.
That's
But yeah,
crazy.
this was a difficult NPC villain to bring in because there were really high stakes. I didn't want it to feel like a death spiral, but it was also really hard because everybody was just paralyzed with like, what do we do? Like, I don't like.
Yeah.
What?
But what do you
happens?
do?
What do you do? And I was like, okay, maybe I took it a little too far.
No, it had pretty good flow, I thought.
I mean, I had a good time with it, but I didn't want it to feel like you couldn't succeed.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to, but I didn't want it to feel impossible.
Right.
Just
Just
difficult.
give up right away.
Yeah.
All right, I'll join your crew.
And I know this is a heavy session that was well received, because this was, in recent memory, the session that got the most comments that were just, this was great, and not a lot of things to add, just wow, what a great session, or this episode was crazy, and that was it. Where usually we get a lot of speculation and comments and whatnot, but this one was just a lot of whoa.
Yeah.
You left them speechless.
We always make it a joke, but this is definitely one of the sessions where when I said, yeah, this is heavy, I threw a lot at you, I meant it. And I know that it was heavy because everybody just kind of glosses over that Mortar is, he's all big now. He's all grown up.
Yeah.
He's all grown up. And it kind of just fades away when you're like, dude, Nightmare Clown just almost killed us all.
Yeah.
Yep.
We almost got killed by a clown wearing knee pads. Ridiculous.
Do you ever feel, though, that as you do this, especially with, like, Mr. Mime, that anything you come up with after, you're like, how do I have the stakes be equivalent or have anyone care at all?
And that's why I've been really slow to ramp up. Is because once I go bigger, I can't really go back. Yeah. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But that's why for a long time I wasn't doing like big combats and stuff. As I was like, okay, because once I go real big and I do something like, you know, the Hillmouth invasion.
Yeah.
How do you top that? Well, you top that with a Nightmare Clown who can do whatever he wants. So he was a fun exercise in not breaking the rules, but just ignoring them.
Yeah.
So rather than it be like, okay, yeah, there's a save for this, I was just going to go, okay, you got, 3, 2, 1. I need a decision. But it was also, is intense on this side of the screen because I know what it can do and I know how it will do it, but I can't let you guys know until it's too late. So that's why I liked to do the thing of like, all right, you guys as a team have a reaction. What are you doing? But part of that was also you can succeed through failure. I just wanted to see what if I gave you guys all one action with no real constraint, what you guys would think of. And you guys had some pretty crazy ideas, but you know, ultimately in the end, yikes. This is not safe for daytime television, you know. Dangerous stuff.
True.
Squats.
But I like hearing that thought process. I like when everybody's under insane amounts of duress because you all just speak very plainly.
Yep.
It's good to get an insight into your characters and kind of what your thought process is. It also tells me if I'm going way too far. Need to dial it back a bit, but I feel like Mr. Mime walked the line very, very neatly.
I agree.
And speaking of lines, the line art's done.
Hey.
Moving on to color.
Yeah, so now he's gonna get all colored in.
And those of you that I know in the Tropius art video, which I think was the most recent one, we mentioned that there was a post show coming up that was pretty spicy. And those of you that are part of our Patreon might go, yeah, that was kind of spicy. That wasn't the one we were referring to.
Oh, look at his blood red hands, guys.
Yeah.
Look at him. Oh no. Oh yeah, he's got the bloodlust now. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Yep.
It's too late.
He's got the old school camera eyes.
Now
Can you
we're all
imagine if we just left
squeaky
him
clean.
in the McDonald's clown color scheme? Just blood red, white, and gold.
That'd be interesting.
Oh man.
I'm gonna make frickin' lose it.
Yeah.
What is she doing? What is this?
She's cleaning it up and coloring.
Make them clean and colorful.
Oh, like shading.
Yep. So first is going to be laying down just the base colors.
Interesting.
Using the Mr. Mime there as reference. And then after that, we will move on to like where is the light source, where to put the shadows, and that kind of stuff.
You said the only like parameter you gave her was that he was
Yeah, we said
cuckoo. Like you didn't give her any other specifics, like aesthetically.
Yeah, no, because the idea for the ringleader, as I have taken to calling him, is I want him to, if you were in a room with like 6 Mr. Mimes, you wouldn't know.
Okay.
So he could blend in, but there's something off about him. Like they'd all be doing their little mime poses.
Yeah.
And his would just be like stoic and kind of strange, but he'd still have the big smile.
Okay.
But all of his movements are super methodical. Where the other Mr. Mimes might be kind of goofy or like joking around, like you could tell.
This was the verbatim prompt that she was given. It says, Mr. Mime is evil. It runs a camp/laboratory hidden in the woods where scientists run harmful tests on Pokemon. It is able to point at things like finger guns and mimic pulling the trigger to literally kill things that disobey him or intruders. Crying emoji.
Yeah, that about sums him up, but...
So it's more of the vibe you get when you're around it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, like, some of it is implied. Like, we don't necessarily know the exact specifics of what he was doing. It was just, like, this is kind of the perception of him.
Yeah.
Interpret that how you will.
Yeah.
And I really like this pose that she did because he looks like he's crazy, but he's having fun with it, too. Like,
he's like a lighthearted Joker.
He's being himself.
He's like when Joker's like, okay, I'm going to steal all the marbles in Gotham. And you're like, why? He goes, because then I'll have all the marbles. But he's clearly going to enjoy having all the marbles. But it's mostly like, what's he going to do with them? That's kind of the aesthetic that I'm liking about him.
And I like the implication of this pose, like he's doing one of his mime tricks. We don't really know what it is, but he could just be like, and here's the wall in front of you that you can't climb over.
Or this could be a dance move.
Could be.
Could be both. Could be
what
both.
What
Very
song does
open.
Mr. Mime dance to, Phoebe?
I'm thinking like a salsa
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
song.
He like it to do with the salsa.
Yeah.
So
course.
He would move with the beat for sure.
Here's the finished Mr. Mime. You can see him. He's awesome.
But yeah, Mr. Mime came out really, 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 really cool. I'm a big fan. Big fan of Mr. Mime. Yeah, the only other thing I want to throw in real quick is I think it was in the post show. So here's anybody who's not in the post show, you can get a little teaser. I know Milo, right after we wrapped, you were like, yeah, I was a little bummed when you brought the Ditto back. And I think the only thing I said was I just wanted you to know that he could.
Yeah, that was said in the post show.
Yeah, but that was just the little cherry on top of how ridiculous, crazy, and powerful this Mr. Mime was.
Yeah.
But this has been the next episode of Art with Sam. Let us know in the comments below who you want to see art of done next. Any other cast members or guest stars that you want us to bring in? And I want to thank Phoebe for taking time out of her busy day to join us for this. It's been nice. It's been nice having a new set of eyes and perspective on the art, because I know it's been just Milo and I for a while. So get a big shout out in the comments for Phoebe showing up and being cool. I'm going to try to get the other two on here sooner than later for the upcoming episodes. But
next time I'm going to come overly prepared.
Oh, yeah?
Overly prepared?
Yeah, where I'm going to go online and just watch some art critique videos and
Oh.
just start throwing in some
I
random terms.
I recommend the monkey farter.
Yes.
Well,
Puppeteer. YouTube classic.
Can you imagine if that was the prompt for Mr. Mime? He makes noises that sound like fart noises.
But also, I'm curious, because we've done 3 of these now, your guys' opinion on the length of them. Should we speed up the time lapse? Should we slow it down? I mean, this one, if we had done it in real time, would have been about an hour and a half.
wow. Wowzers.
So, I mean,
Wow.
if everyone's like, we want an hour-long podcast with the art video, or like, no, this is too much, make it a quick 5 minutes,
Yeah.
let us know your thoughts so we can see how to proceed in the future with these.
Yeah, because this is still a new budding series. So let us know. Any early support and feedback is super helpful. We appreciate it. But thank you guys for hanging out with us, watching Mr. Mime, the ringleader, come to life before your very eyes. And check out Sam's links in the description. Again, that's Red Cat Studios. Check her out. She's got some great art. She's fantastic to work with. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, too, for joining me on this art journey.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys in the next art video. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.